Hey guys, welcome to Nuko Maths. On this channel, we break down concepts into easy steps for you to understand. Today we're going to be going over Pythagoras. We will cover the formula for Pythagoras and the different types of questions you could get. The formula for Pythagoras theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now this is related to a right-angled triangle, which means one angle in the triangle is 90 degrees. The different sides correspond to the A, B, and C. The A and B are interchangeable, so it doesn't matter what side they're on, but the C is the hypotenuse, which needs to be the longest side. Here's an example question that you could get. They would usually give you a triangle, and you know it's right-angled because it has a little square in the corner. So you've got your different sides, 6, 4, and x, and we label our different sides A, B, and C, C being the longest side. And then we just substitute into our formula. 4 squared plus 6 squared equals x squared. Now we just use normal algebra and solve for x. 16 plus 36 equals x squared. We add them and get 52 equals x squared. And we get x is equal to 7.21. Let's try another question where we have to find the hypotenuse, or the longest side, c. And now an easier formula is c is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared. That's just rearranging it before we even start. We label our sides, and remember a and b can be either or, but c has to be the longest side. So now we substitute in our values and solve normally for c. But it's a little bit easier because we rearranged before. So now we get c is equal to the square root of 68, which is 8.25. Sometimes the question can ask you to leave it in an exact form, which means you just leave it as the square root because it has no decimals. Let's try a question where we have to find one of our shorter sides, not the long side. So we do the same thing of labeling and write out our formula. Now the only difference is now we rearrange for a. So it's going to be a squared equals c squared minus b squared. A is then equal to the square root of c squared minus b squared. And we can simplify a down all the way to a is equal to the square root of 21. And if you put that into your calculator, you'll get 4.58. Okay, let's try a final example where we aren't trying to find the hypotenuse. So we're trying to find a or b. So it doesn't matter what side you label a or b. So we've decided to label x b this time. So which means we're going to have to rearrange the equation to make b the subject. So we get b is equal to the square root of c squared minus a squared. We substitute in as normal and we solve. We get b is equal to the square root of 64. We know that's a simple square root, which means b is equal to 8. Here are some practice questions. Pause the video and give them a shot. I'll now go over the answers for the questions. First thing we do is always label our sides. So we're looking for c. So we write down our formula and c is the subject. We substitute in our values and we solve normally for x. We get x is equal to 10.8. Now on to the next question. We do the same thing and label our sides a, b, and c. We're going to be solving for a, so we have to make a the subject of the equation. Now we substitute in our values and solve as normal. We can plug the square root of 192 into our calculator and get 13.9. Here's a summary from today's video. We went over the Pythagoras formula, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and we also went over the different type of questions. A note to remember is that you can only use Pythagoras theorem on a right angle triangle, so it has to have the little square, which is 90 degrees. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe so you keep up to date with the videos that we post. Next week's video will be about trigonometry.